one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto, and every day on this channel we teach you how to make money with digital assets. And today we got a major show today. We got to talk about what is going on with Ethereum and a digital ID system. We're going to talk about that Bitcoin whale. What is going on with that? Is he connected to the Trump family? We're going to dive into that one as well. Look at some gold charts because gold, precious metals are going absolutely bonkers. And I'm joined here with TJ. TJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yeah. And we're going to try to talk about and answer the ultimate question. Are altcoins safe? I know that's what everybody's been asking. That's what the fear is right now. We've been hearing about alt season forever. Is it a myth? Is it actually a real thing? We're going to talk about that later today. Happy to be here watching Bitcoin bounce off of 110 yet again. Yeah, love the Disco fam. Smash the likes on your way in and let us know what you think. Are altcoins safe to buy here, or is there more pain ahead? So tell us in the comments.
Well, we do have a inverse Kramer post. I see people talking about that one. So yeah, expect that. We're going to talk about Capo and his recent correction, or prediction, I should say. And today we're going to learn about Crow, today's sponsor. Oh, wait. Whoa, I forgot where I was at there, TJ, for a second. Yeah, those who don't know, we did upload part of our unedited. We have a little bit of a deal with crypto.com. We, every now and then, once every, I would say, TJ, month or two, we'll do something, last time we did PayPal. Yeah, we did a PayPal video back in August or September. We were going to do a crypto.com video in October. And yeah, if you're one of the few that caught that last night, congratulations, folks. Count yourself in a little rarefied club there. Let's get into crypto here. The markets are dumping, but like TJ said, a little bit of a bounce. You can see the green 1% pump on the 1 hour, now down to 0.9%, but Bitcoin's down 2.5%. ETH is down 3.5%. BNB pulling back a little bit. Surprising to see. TJ, BNB's down 10% for the week. So, a little bit ways away there from where we were touching. XRP down 5%. But Solana is doing great. Solana really capturing a lot of the attention. Kind of what we were predicting. I said there's going to be a little bit of the altcoin drawdown. You're going to see it go from Bitcoin to ETH to BNB. And I think it was late last week. I said, watch Solana overperform its peers this week. That's what we're seeing here. And Cardano with a little bit of a pullback. Well, let's look at the big movers here. We got Tau. TJ, that's what I was telling people to buy yesterday.
Yeah. Tau's absolutely been crushing. I mean, we were talking about it a lot yesterday.
It was last night's upload too.
Yeah, on the live stream, and in the upload, as far as like the best performers on, the ones showing the most strength through that turmoil that we saw last Friday. And yeah, Tau, not only did it bounce hard, but it fully recovered the dip and then kept going. Origin Trail, another one we've been talking about, did the same thing. And Solana is one we think is going to show a lot of strength here. ETF coming up. I do think the government shutdown does play a role in some of this stuff, as far as I do think once that ends, we'll really see things really start to take off. And I know people are predicting that lasting a little bit longer. I do think seeing these ETFs get approved will be very bullish for altcoins. And now that pretty much most of the leverage is flushed out, it can be a much easier structured move to the upside. And I've got Kelly actually put together in the Discord this morning. They were doing a stream with the members, and there's a pretty interesting correlation between the Wyckoff accumulation phase and what we've been seeing with Ethereum. No, Josh is still around. He just travels a lot, so he'll pop in from time to time. He's been out in Bali. He still loves Ondo, so no, he didn't get kicked off. He's still a friend of the channel, correspondent, just not here every day like we are. So. And
what happened with Ondo? What's going on with Ondo? Well, Ondo did, I would say it was October 6th, so we're looking at, a little over a week ago. They bought Oasis, which was a regulatory approved financial firm. And so I've heard reports that they've gotten like 3 to 5 years of financial clarity with this, I think, $70 million purchase. So Ondo's still making some moves. I wouldn't worry too much about Ondo there. I have rotated a little Ondo into Link, though.
Huck says, I want to fill that 92K gap. He's talking about a CME gap at 92K. I think it's a pretty small one. What do you think about that? Would you tell us in the chat? Let us know. Are you looking forward to that? Would you buy that dip? Was that sound like pain to you? Sub 100. That's obviously a pretty substantial.
You're going to get nonstop calls that the bear market is completely over, everybody. And so, yeah, that would be definitely. And we're in an office BR animation. TJ's like 20 yards down the hall. I could prove it, but maybe we'll just keep it a mystery. Maybe it is TJ's basement. Maybe this is my basement. We'll forever, keep that one in question there. All right, let's look at the other big gainers here. Co-AI, which is the altcoin I shared yesterday. I said this one is going to start running. We're hearing the Chinese insiders are going to start making moves on this one, but take profit very quickly because as we showed you yesterday, on the 7-day chart, you can see it spiked to $40. You can see it actually had wicks up in the 40s, pulled back sharply. We were jumping in around there, so was not able to pull the trigger on that sell there. If we look at the big losers, however, you're going to see Mantle is down, Aster is still down, and BNB and Ondo with the 5.8. XRP also with a pretty significant pullback here, and XLM kind of being dragged down by XRP. Let's look at Bitcoin. I did want to share this. Scott Melker pointed this out. 4-hour RSIs have been playing out beautifully here this entire time, TJ, at least lately. You can see here, very clear bearish divergence. See the RSI, creating a higher high or a higher low rather, and then this is a lower low on the price. Also saw the same thing at the top. We started making lower RSI moves here. Meanwhile, the price continued to pump to the upside. And then if we can see what's happening right now, I would like to see, what do we have here? 1 hour and 20 minutes. So we need Bitcoin to kind of maintain this range, but the wicks are higher. The candle bodies are higher, but it's pretty close to hidden divergence. This isn't not quite as bullish as a bullish divergence, but I would say a hidden divergence, still semi-significant. You can see a lot of strength in the RSI on the 4-hour here. So, probably get another wick down, but this is looking like a recovery is in the horizon over the next 24 or 72 hours. 110
Bitcoin is very, very strong support. Obviously, there's, it can range in that 108 area as well. I did see this got a 350% or 349% trade on Co-AI late last night, early morning. So good call there, DZ. That was another one that was showing strength that you highlighted on yesterday's stream, I think. Maybe it was over the weekend. It also
no, it was yesterday's stream. And I'm not even so much strength as Chinese insiders told Crypto Face. That's the thesis. And frothy markets, especially BNB, I think you can say was a frothy market, at least until the crash on Friday. Sometimes you got to make moves you make a quick move and then take some quick profit on that one.
Speaking of Crypto Face, if you guys aren't watching our afternoon streams, we do a little bit more charting and technical analysis in the afternoon with Drew and Kelly. And I think I'm pretty sure Kelly was mentioning Face should be coming on with them later this week. I forget the day, but he'll be on here talking some charts and giving his theories on who might be driving the market.
All right. Well, let's talk about what drives crypto, TJ. Besides Bitcoin, Chainlink. We're going to go in our title story here. Chainlink, I noticed something in the charts, TJ. We have a similarity to the 2020 run up here, kind of started in 2019, but 2019 to 2020, we had a very classical TH pattern here play out. This is the W formation, and you can see the W formation forming right here with a slightly lower end on the right side of the W, followed by a huge wick to the downside, which then washed out all these longs and then enabled Chainlink to move up and to the right. And if you look right here, we have a W formation, slightly lower right edge on the W, followed by a lower wick, washing out all these longs, which then potentially, presumably, should allow Chainlink to then move up and to the right. And that kind of, on the backdrop of the recent news with Chainlink, with S&P Global. This is the company behind the S&P 500. They have global markets as well, tapping Chainlink to rate the stablecoin's ability to retain peg. And TJ, what coincidental timing after the large depeg events of just 4 or 5 days ago?
Yeah, and there was a lot of people talking about at the time, oh, is this an Oracle issue or is this a market maker issue? And we covered it a lot yesterday. If you guys didn't catch yesterday's stream, we did break down kind of what was driving and what caused the things that happened Friday. It does appear we're getting more data now that there was a market maker or market makers that sucked a lot of the liquidity out of the market all at the same time, exacerbating the issue, driving the prices down even more. And then if you think about it, this really made a lot of sense to me too. If you guys are most of the larger traders, especially if you've got again, a large portfolio, they're using altcoin. They trade cross instead of isolated, right? Which means you're trading everything in your account as collateral, and you're using a lot of altcoins a lot of times with a lot less liquidity as your collateral in a cross position. So then if you start to get liquidated and the liquidity is already sucked out of the market, that's what causes those altcoins to just get absolutely. So if say you've got, and I know this isn't a lot of people out there, but say somebody's got $10 million of Fartcoin in their account, but they're trading on a Bitcoin pair, but they're using cross, and some of that collateral is in a low liquidity altcoin or meme coin, and then you start to get liquidated and the market makers pulled the liquidity. That's what's going to cause it to crash down 80%, 90% to some of these ridiculous prices that we saw. So it was a combination of a lot of different things that happened last week, but we are getting more confirmation that, we'll get to it a little bit later in the show, that all of the liquidity just got sucked out.
Yeah, it looks like the altcoin liquidity was primarily USDE, a Binance wrapped Solana, and a Binance wrapped ETH. And so those were the underlying positions that got wiped out there. But let's get back to the S&P Chainlink story here. So they partnered with Chainlink to give financial institutions, aka the big banks, aka Wall Street, on-chain access to stablecoin stability assessments. Okay, these stablecoin stability assessments, or SSAs, launched on Base yesterday. So big shout out to ETH, big shout out to Base as being, kind of some beneficiaries of this news as well. And this is Chainlink's statement: institutional adoption digital asset accelerates the ability to access these real-time risk assessments directly within blockchain infrastructure has become crucial for market participants. So directly within the blockchain versus Binance's order book or Binance's price oracle. Now they're going to be powered by Datalink. This is the commercial grade, the business size data publishing service offered by Chainlink, enabling them to provide risk assessments for stablecoins based on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being weak, based on their ability to maintain stable value relative, basically their ability to maintain their peg. Now, with the Genius Act establishing regulatory framework, there could be a rise in demand for real-time risk profiles, enabling institutions to make more informed data decisions with their stablecoin assessments. Now, let me just kind of pause on here. The reason they want this is they saw opportunity. They're saying, wait a minute, there's this thing that's redeemable for $1 no matter what, or at least in today's environment. I'm talking about USDE specifically. You can go to USDE. They remain over-collateralized, still remain over-collateralized even at the worst of Friday's impending doom. They're like, wait, I could have bought $1 for 65 cents. Or conversely, you also see stablecoins go up. Like, wait a minute, I could sell dollars for $1.02. I will buy $18 billion right now. I think they see a lot of opportunity with crypto depeggings, and this is a kind of way to just hedge those bets.
Yeah, it is. I see a lot of comments coming in. Institutions aren't our friend. They ruined us. What do you guys think? Do you think institutions will allow us to make higher highs, or do you think they're part of the problem holding us back, or both? Or are they holding us back right now so they can get better entries? Which that's kind of where I fall. We're going to look at the Wyckoff accumulation a little bit later. I do think they're trying to get better entries before they absolutely send this thing. But I want to hear what chat has to say.
Here's my take. So make sure I go up and to the right. I think institutions help this, a slow, steady up and to the right. I think they hurt this.
Yes.
Parabolic tops. Now, the question is, does the parabolic top exceed that? That's the question. Nobody really knows. No one really knows how soon China and former Bitcoin miners, how are they going to dump Bitcoin during those parabolic rallies? We've been shocked before. 2017, they won't let it go above 10K. They let it go to 19K. 2021, where a lot of people are thinking, they're going to let it go to 100K. They only let it go to 60K. That's the impossible answer right there. No one knows for sure what that parabolic top would look like exactly.
Exactly. And we're talking about S&P. And if you look at obviously like what the S&P 500 has done, it's much more systematic where they want up only, for the most part. S&P 500 has been up only. You could argue about why and money printing and manipulation and all these other things. But if they're going to bring that same mentality to crypto, that's part of what's driving a lot of the narrative that the 4-year cycle is over. We'll have accumulation periods, and then we'll pump, and we'll have some structured pullbacks and some healthy resets, but we're not going to get the clear 4-year cycle of up only, down only, sideways only, slow up, big up. Like that's basically the 4-year cycle, and that I do think is coming to an end.
Tim Arnold asking how many able to buy the dip. Well, one, it was Friday evening for a lot of American, traders at least, and that wick was like 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, depending on the coin or the chart or how you're trying to measure that. So not a lot of people watching the charts, hovering over the buy button on a Friday at 6 p.m.
We asked yesterday. I mean, put it in the chat. Yesterday there was tons of people putting comments in the chat that said they bought, and they bought it. What'd you buy and at what price? I mean, there was tons of people saying.
Yeah, well, I guess I bought Friday at 7 p.m. or so, but I didn't catch that Pico bottom.
No,
I think you might mean that Pico bottom.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, who bought 0.001 Cosmos? Yeah, nobody. But I think a lot of people got low buys for sure.
Well, I'll tell you who will be able to buy it in the future, TJ. I have the answer right here. Who's going to be able to buy this if they enact this? Swift, Euroclear, JP Morgan, Fidelity, UBS, and MasterCard. All of these are Chainlink's partner list, and it is just growing and growing and growing. And so, hey, they're algo bots. They will be buying those bottoms. Now, let's go back to the Chainlink chart here. You can see it right here. This is kind of creating a pretty similar structure on the weekly. Also, during this period, basically it looked really bearish. Chainlink really looked like ass. Excuse my language here, but this, you see bleeding RSI, you see the lower lows here. This is by no means a bullish chart. And what ended up happening here, this is log, so I hope you're sitting down. A 3,000% pump. That's a 33x right there. Okay, that is a massive move to the upside. By no means am I saying we're going to do a 3,000 x here, but we like to do the math. From the wick, $286 Chainlink. Now I don't think that's going to happen, but I definitely think $50 very much on the table. I will eat my bald cap if we don't hit $50, and I think we're going to 100 to 200.
Yeah, I mean, Drew's been calling for a $300 Chainlink for a while. That's just based on general math of what the total market cap could be, and if Chainlink's in a top 10, where that could So I don't think $300 Chainlink in the near future or the not too distant future is unheard of. Like you said, obviously $100 is a lot more reasonable in the much shorter term, but I mean, if Chainlink keeps doing what Chainlink does, once that revenue turns on, I do think there's a lot of a huge upside on Chainlink. I heard people in the office talking today when it comes time to sell altcoins, the ones that some people will probably never sell your Bitcoin. And I'm hearing other people saying they'll always hold Ethereum and always hold Chainlink. And those three seem to be the holy trinity right now of a lot of people's perception. Last thing I want to say about what we were talking about with Ethena and the peg and all that stuff going on with the market makers. This is just conjecture on my part, but I do believe part of what was going on when they pulled that liquidity was trying to break Ethena and trying to get it to come up, because if Ethena broke and really significantly didn't recover its peg, a huge amount of Aave's collateral right now is Ethena, and there was other people in Aave functioned flawlessly. Everything within DeFi worked the way it was supposed to, not too surprisingly so. But that is an attack vector that I think somebody was trying to stress test. It all held up, but had Ethena broken and then it cascaded into an Aave collapse, it could have been the prices could have gone much lower, much faster. And I'm not saying for sure that's what somebody was trying to accomplish, but they were close to accomplishing it. So it's worth, taking a look at, especially if you're deep into DeFi.
Bold conjecture there. All right. Now we do have Kobayashi breaking news here. Breaking China, urging the U.S. to correct wrongdoings regarding the 100% tariff, and says it will fight until the end. In other words, step number 9 in our tariff playbook is on the horizon. We broke this down yesterday and basically saying number 9 is going to be coming, which is over the next 2-4 weeks. Various members will tease a trade deal from the Trump administration. And we're going to talk about the Trump insiders. People literally saying it was Barron Trump behind this. That's not the case. That's not the case, folks. And they're saying it with like so much confidence, and it's just a fact. And they're like putting a big picture of Barron and a highlighted wallet address, and they're just like throwing it out there, like guys, like, okay, are
and
you
they're
even trying to do any research here?
No, they're just trying to get clicks. They're even using, like, Forbes apparently came out and said, oh, he's made around $80 million on his crypto investments. And they're like, see, Forbes said 80 million. This short made 80 million. Gotta be Barron. And it's like Forbes makes those numbers up all the time too. Like they're nowhere close with most of their numbers.
So here's a good question. About 1,000 of Aster, can reach 5. What's your advice? So they're about to have the big airdrop unlock, and that is going to be it's going to be impossible to predict because there's going to be two competing forces. There's going to be airdrop recipients selling, and their competing force is going to be CZ wrecking people shorting it, and also CZ maybe wanting to have that coin pump in the face of an airdrop. I don't know who's going to win that battle. There will be a battle, and anyone saying they know for sure what's going to happen, they're lying to you. Either that or they're part of the 97% controlled wallets, which they're not. They are not those people.
But I mean, to answer the question, can it? It absolutely can. Can you say for sure? Will it? We don't know. We have to wait and see. But I would be willing to bet that it is. I still hold all the Aster that I bought. And another thing that plays into that price is we were talking about today how BNB, I think it was you and I talking about this, easy. BNB could be the one, kind of kicking off and starting alt season more than Ethereum. BNB is at all-time highs. Not surprising. As that continues to run, you're going to see profits rotate from BNB down into the ecosystem. Aster probably being one of those top picks. Pancake Swap, which we already highlighted for you guys, that's been performing extremely well. And then the deeper down the ecosystem you go, there'll be more runners and that sort of stuff. So at $1.37, can it hit $5? Absolutely possible. Is it going to happen this week or next week? No. Could happen before the end of this year, though.
All right, let's look at the airdrop for BNB. BNB was a free airdrop kind of as well, similar structure to Aster. Airdrop fell, never saw that low again. Now, the day of, life-changing opportunities. You could get in at 2 cents and sell for $1,000.
And those are dailies?
50,000. Yeah, those are daily candles here.
So a couple days down and then up and to the right, basically.
And then never looked back.
Yeah, never looked back at all.
And this is a log chart, so let's just for clarity's sake here. We're oh my god, yeah, we're talking about buy that little 2 cent wick here that's really not even able to be seen. Oh god. Now we do have that target here. We did run the Fibonacci numbers, smash through this. It did respect it somewhat. I'm not saying Fibonacci is going to play out every time. But Ivan on Tech thinks it's going to hit here. I also think it's going to hit here. It's going to be around a $1,500 BNB. So if you're wondering, can it keep on running? Sure. Now, 65%, maybe it's not 65% of the time, but a certain percentage of the time, it will come back down and retest this. So do not think that, you're out. Oh, fuck. It did on the daily. Oh, man. I don't know if that wick can count, but that might count. That might count for sure.
It did retest it. Yeah,
it did. I had on weekly candles there. So, all right. Well, there you go. Breaking news. Not breaking news, but I do want to throw this. Be careful trading. I would not be trading leading up to this. Powell's going to step up 12:20 Eastern Standard Time. So we're looking about an hour and a half from now. Markets in full suspense mode. Are you playing it safe? Riding the volatility. Careful riding the lightning, man. Careful trying to ride that lightning. It might end up, you might be the thunderclap, but it's just your ass hitting the ground. Now, my crypto, go ahead.
He's actually doing a speech today? Or is he going to rug us like he did last time?
Oh, yeah, where it was a 27-second clip.
Yeah, like, we like regional banks. Sorry we killed you guys.
I don't know. Maybe have Kelly look into that before the live stream here. Now, I like Quentin's meme here. My crypto portfolio pronouns are was, were. Oh, bird, just careful overtrading those alts. And TJ, you shared this one. Are all coins safe to buy or high risk? Yeah, well, everything's high risk if you're the wet ass P word. Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, I thought that was. That's a great one of the best characters on Secession. But yeah, that's basically. You gotta. It's true. Are all coins safe to buy? That was our title for today. I just kind of wanted to put that out there and see what people said. And yes, are they safe to buy? No, they're not safe. Nothing's safe. Nothing is sure. Nothing is certain in this world. Every choice you make has risk attached to it. The question is, how much risk can you tolerate, and what is the reward? I do think a risk reward right now on altcoins now is a good time to be buying and accumulating, even if we do go slightly lower on Bitcoin. Seeing all that leverage wiped out, seeing all the charts get basically crushed, doesn't make me scared of altcoins. It actually makes me say like, oh, okay, actually these are pretty good entries, and I still am bullish for the remainder of this year. I still think Bitcoin's going to make a new high. I still think Ethereum is going to make a new high. Even Benjamin Cowan, who's been bearish on Ethereum for a long time now, it's kind of the same thing. Says, okay, the chart's done what I was looking for. It's gone home is his
I got all those posts up a little bit later too, so
Yeah,
we'll show all the count stuff. Now, asking about gold, I see your question, Michael. Gold video probably tomorrow. I'll try not to have a crypto.com video in its place, but gold video, there's a lot of activity. And I don't know if I shared on the stream, but I bought some gold options, BlackRock ETF. I think I shared the process here. I know I talked in depth with TJ about it, Kelly about it, Drew about it. We got options at $1.05 on BlackRock's ETF, and basically an option that's going to expire in 2026. I'm just saying gold's going to keep running. I'm up like 60% on my gold options thus far. So I might need to start trading like Paul Pelosi a little bit more often. There's a reason the politicians trade options more so than leverage. And now's the time to maybe explore things besides leverage if you want that higher risk appetite.
I'm actually really interested in options trading in general. I mean, Josh Mandel, if you guys don't follow him online, he's made a fortune trading.
Yeah, he doesn't like to shake hands, right?
Yeah.
Josh Mandel, he always fist bumps.
Yeah, I guess.
That was a Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel, yeah.
A bad joke. I tried.
Josh, man, he's one of the loudest MicroStrategy bulls. Actually, so loud when he started questioning things. Michael Saylor's blocked him now, but I think he traded something like 2 million to 15 million in a handful of months trading those options. So very good options trader. And like you said, trading on gold, trading on MicroStrategy, and even Bitcoin, taking options on Bitcoin prices is something that I'm interested in exploring.
And it is DZ, not Desi. And one time TJ was there. I shot a podcast with the NFL, pretty famous NFL player. I don't want to name him here, but we were going to try to get something going with this podcast. It's going to be like an athlete and a crypto expert. But you remember he kept calling me Desi.
Desi, yeah, Desi. You do not look like a Desi for whatever reason.
Man, it was so awkward. Honestly, for that reason alone, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. All right, let's talk about the Bitcoin whale here, buddy. Just in, Insider Bitcoin whale shorted the last crash. Remember, he made 192 million. He has now opened a short and then even boosted the bet, slamming down 400 million that Bitcoin's going to tank. Do we have another crash incoming? Is that the crash that we're seeing right now? Well, I actually went to his wallet, TJ. I don't like to trust. I like to verify. He did keep adding to the short. That is real. You can see, open the short, adding to it. Let's go right to the short here. You click on perps. He still has, oh my God, he is basically all open. 489 million riding on this, or billion, I should say, is what the leverage amount is. 4,000 Bitcoin up for grabs here, and he is $17 million in profit as we speak. He spent just the funding fee, $200,000. So even if the trade was completely neutral, like it was the exact same price, he's down $200K just for opening the position. That's how much leverage he's using. That's how big the position is here.
Yeah, but he's up 17 million unrealized, right?
Yeah, 17 million unrealized
business.
Close that thing, man. Close that. All right, let's talk about who is this guy? Is it Trump? Is it Barron? Is it Barron doing this so he could buy more Aster here? Well, alleged Trump insider whale denies insider trading, and he opens that another short. We just looked at it. And so he's now shorting Bitcoin again. He's been accused of being a Trump insider, the person behind it, and says there's no connection to the first family here. We're going to talk about his post in a second. Arkham Intelligent even labeled the wallet Trump insider whale, adding more speculation here. Other commenters have flinged similar accusations, although there is no direct evidence to prove prior knowledge of Trump's actions. Let's just say that. We don't want to get sued here. Now, Connor Grogan, he's a blockchain researcher. He tied it to the Bitcoin whale that swapped millions of Bitcoin for ETH earlier in the year. Others suggested it belongs to BitForex CEO Garrett Jin. We covered this news as well. He confirmed that he is connected to it, but he said, it's not my money. I'm trading on behalf of my client. This is not my personal account there. Now, this tweet is no longer found. Where CZ, they looked into the wall. He's like, yeah, I wish we could, find out more. Hey, CZ, thanks for sharing my personal and private information. To clarify, I have no connection to the Trump family there. So that was kind of funny. Now let's get into the speculation here. He did a whole post on it, why he shorted. He's trying to, some are saying he's running cover for him being an insider. He's like, no, guys, there's no connection to me opening that short, maybe 1 minute before a post or, opening the short right before the Trump tweet here. And he goes into it. He's like, nah, man, basically, long story short, it was just 4-hour MACD convergence. And it was a total coincidence that it happened, right before the Trump post there. Now, so, guys held 10 billion for 10 years without touching, decides to go short because of 4-hour MACD convergence. Now, first thing, chat, do we believe him? Yes, we believe him. It was just TA. It was coincidence, or no, insider. Yes or no. Was he an insider? Yes or no. Let us know. I don't think it was Martin Shkreli. Very smart guy. People like to hate on that dude because the whole pharmaceutical thing. But if you've ever listened to his spaces, very rare is he not the smartest person speaking.
Oh, he's definitely extremely intelligent.
Extremely intelligent.
Doesn't have any morals. That's the problem.
Maybe. I mean, he's probably like 150 IQ at least there. Let's see. Insider. Back to prison. No. There's insider, bruh. Hell no. F no. People are coming in all over this one. Yes. I mean,
well, how do we know it's really him, not just some, like, a lot of times when you see stuff like this going on, you get people coming out of the woodworks just for the attention of like pretending it was them or making it like, obviously whoever's making that claim knows that that's a ridiculous claim to say it was a 4-hour divergence or convergence.
If he wasn't connected to the BitForex scam, then maybe, but because he's not only associating himself to this trade, he's also like, hey, remember that scam from 8 years ago that you all forgot about? Hey, I'm back.
Yeah.
Normally he would just lay low the whole time.
Well, you think that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. I do think somebody had prior knowledge. Definitely people had prior knowledge because it was a lot more going on than just the Trump tweet. And that's part of what I talked about yesterday is I don't know if he knew anything about Trump stuff, but they probably knew that Wintermute was going to pull all their liquidity. Like somebody knew that. That was somewhat coordinated. There was an attack on CoinGlass. There was a lot going on that Friday afternoon. And there was definitely a select group of people that had prior information and had a big incentive to profit from it. Now,
all right, well, let's talk about that here. Now, a lot of people are quoting this. There's no evidence of this. He's just kind of sharing some screenshots. I don't know if these screenshots are real, let's just start there. That's our starting point here. That's my starting point. But he goes into a whole thread here after posting some of these pictures. He's been contacted. He's compressing everything. He's like gone into hiding, this guy. But he's saying, basically, this isn't Garrett, but this is someone else. There's someone else. He is just a front man, but it's a starting point. Basically, if you scroll towards the end, they throw out some names. One of the names that they throw out, Zach Witkoff and Chase Harrow leading this. The reason you maybe heard about them, I love a good old Walking Dead meme there, but essentially these are World Liberty Fi participants. Kind of talked about this with TJ here. I didn't pull it up, but on World Liberty Fi's page, there was essentially a picture of two people. I'll go ahead and pull it up while you talk here. So World Liberty Fi, there's someone that didn't look like the rest of the people.
Yeah. You talking about the stock market day or wherever it was, there was a group photo of them. I can't remember where I saw it, where it was like, they all
it's on the page.
It's on the website.
Yeah, so this is our team meter. All right. We got the Trump clan on the top here with the C. And then there's this guy. What the hell is this guy with the backwards cap on, the t-shirt? I guess this guy has a t-shirt on, but they're essentially saying it's Steve Witkoff's son, which, I mean, there's obviously a little cronyism here. And, we probably all have known that very rich and successful family and their son's just a F up, a complete failure compared to the father. I'm not saying that Zach, but I don't like his face. I'm gonna say it. I don't like his face. And then you got Chase. You know what I don't like here? I don't like a man that dyes his hair like that. Okay, you're dyeing your hair silver to be trendy. I see your roots. I see your roots. To me, cringe and lame. And it reminds me of Cam Newton dressing up before the football game. You're focusing way too much stuff on the things that aren't important. When you're a NFL starting quarterback, you need to focus on that. And when you're the co-founder of the Trump family's crypto project, you need to focus on that. And this to me suggests that they're not serious people.
Yeah, I mean, there was another picture I saw very similarly. I think it was the day they rang the opening market of the stock market. Everybody's in a suit and tie except one guy, which was him in the t-shirt, and just didn't look like he fit in.
You know, who has the hardest job in America right now?
Who's
World Liberty 5 Chief Compliance Officer. God, man, I can't. She's just like, guys, Barron's the responsible one. I can only imagine the meetings.
I think that's ridiculous that it's being put on Barron. I mean, it's not surprising that people like to blame Trump because especially that was the match. But to me, Binance and players, I mean, that's what we talked about a lot yesterday. Binance and the players at Binance were indirectly, directly, however you want to slice it, involved. They were the ones that control most of the order books across this industry, or at least have a heavy influence on them. And they can, if they decide to, break a lot of stuff very quickly. So,
all right, look, just because someone's like a dwarf doesn't mean they can't make fun of another man being short. If anything, it allows me to make fun of that, right? I get a free pass.
All right. Well, you're not dyeing your hair. We all know that.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's all right. Speaking of haircuts here, Bitcoin traders might get a haircut. You like that segue. Smash the like button for the DZ segues here. We're going to close this CME gap, aren't we? A lot of people talking about the CME gap. This is bullish, folks. CME gap is when Chicago Mercantile Exchange closes on a Friday, opens on a Monday, and there's a gap. A lot of times there's going to be, they'll cover that gap. Drew's done a lot of work on that. More than half for sure. You'll hear people say 90 some odd percent. Maybe it's like only around 70 some odd percent. But this is bullish. Bitcoin finally came down and tested the CME gap. So maybe up only is going to be the move. And now Elon Musk posting about Bitcoin. First time he's done it in a long time. Came from Zero Hedge. Money is not the problem. AI is the new global arms race, and CapEx, capital expenditures, basically the money that companies are going to be spending. The money that, these companies will be spending will eventually be funded by governments. I do like this theory. Basically, these AI companies are going to get government backing because ultimately this is going to be leading to what probably is going to be the Third World War. We hope that this is the Third World War, not the other one. I don't want to get into that. But if you want to know why gold, silver, Bitcoin soaring, it's the debasement to fund the AI arms race. But you can't print energy. True. That's why Bitcoin is based on energy. You can always print more money. You can always issue fake fiat currency. And every government in history has done so, but it is impossible to fake energy.
Yeah.
And then Doge heads, hey, you mean Doge? You mean Doge? No, we didn't mean Doge. Shut up.
He meant
Bitcoin.
Which is great to see him talking about Bitcoin. It's been kind of his silence on Bitcoin up until this point has been somewhat surprising, and it shows he clearly has a very good understanding of it. I think he's a very large holder of it. Only theory I can think of as to why he hasn't been a loud proponent for Bitcoin is he doesn't want it to become another attack vector.
Attack vector, 100%. Yeah. If you guys weren't here in 2021, everybody is. That, like, when he started talking about Bitcoin is when the climate alarmists came out of the woodwork, and we kind of saw climate alarmism die down. I mean, I think Greta Thunberg totally shifting what she was focusing on was a good sign of that, but I'm seeing the rumblings start again. I'm seeing those, maybe the NGOs are starting to fund some things, maybe globalists, we'll talk about Vitalik a little later, maybe there's an agenda being pushed there, but we might start seeing more environmental FUD regarding Bitcoin as we hit new all-time highs.
Maybe not. I think now that BlackRock's behind it too, I think they've done a pretty good job of educating. I think
that's true. That's
mostly crossed that environmental FUD narrative because, and the kind of wealthy elite of the world are getting educated to where it's like, no, it's not cool to attack Bitcoin anymore. You need to shift over here. So I think a lot of the smartest minds are starting to understand, oh, Bitcoin's actually good for energy and good for the environment, and having people like Elon Musk out there talking about it will be helpful. And Larry Fink out there doing the same thing. I mean, he's on 60 Minutes just the other day saying, why he was wrong about Bitcoin and how he thinks it's the future and all that sort of stuff. So I think the global macro narrative towards Bitcoin is going to be strong for the foreseeable future. And another reason why I don't believe we see a big, bear market coming up. I do see Ricky Romero here asking, and let us know in the chat if you think it's a good idea. He said, I rotated some of my Bitcoin gains into SWI and AVAX. Good move, DZ and TJ. I would say,
I think
yes.
AVAX at a low is good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think you'll get some pumps on those, and then just make sure when you get well into profit on those, you rotate back into your Bitcoin, because it's, in my opinion, you always want to be stacking more Bitcoin, and you always that's the long-term hold. Bitcoin is the best way, coming back to storing your wealth or storing your energy. That's what Bitcoin does best, is it stores energy for the future, stores value, and builds up your energy supply that you can deploy into other things later. So.
All right, Aster price. All right, look, Aster's not going to $10.
Not
but
this
look, I do have your target. I do have your target here. I'm more inclined to believe it because you can see how well. Listen, I think it's 236. Yeah, I got bad eyes. 236. So this is just looking at the Fibonacci levels. It does seem like it kind of is, respecting the levels. The next level to the upside is going to be 330, and then the one above that's going to be 470. And if you're not selling here, not taking profits here, or if we wick all the way up to $7, $6.90, like the prophecy foretold, and you're waiting for $10, you're going to get wrecked. So, maybe get some of those moonshot targets out of your mind. If you jumped in, even if you bought the Pico top, of course, Aster is going to go above 246. It's backed by Binance. And hey, Binance made a lot of money on Friday. All right. They made a lot of money. The buybacks are going to happen. The buybacks are going to continue.
And the other thing I was going to say is, it said this month, like, don't get so caught up in the super short time frame. If it hits $5, $6, $7, or even $6 in 2-3 months, or even a year, that should be good for you. Don't be.
Yeah, you're going kind of crazy here, because you want it to be $10 by this point. So you want the chart to do
straight up in the line.
Yeah. Right. Okay. On the 20. Okay. All the way over there, though. I mean, yeah, that's a little tough to manage there, for sure.
And I see this question here. Should put my money in.
Is he too bullish? Is he too bullish? He might be too bullish, DJ.
Might be a little too bullish. Yeah. Should I put my money in Bitcoin IRA or Robinhood? If you guys don't know, Bitcoin IRA, one of our channel partners here, that's what I would suggest. Simple question. If you're putting money in, do you want to pay taxes on every trade, or do you want to trade tax-free? That's what you should be asking yourself. You get your money in a Bitcoin IRA. It's a tax-protected vehicle, something you can hold for the long term. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, the link is in the description. They have over 80 different cryptos. It's a self-directed IRA. You can trade 24/7, completely tax-free. They have really, really good customer service and support, and has been a good partner of this channel for a long time. So we really do appreciate them. If you guys, mention, that you found it from Discover Crypto, they will give you bonuses and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, check it. If you haven't had a chance yet, I know this is not always a fun thing to do, is thinking about your IRA or your tax protected future. But I would say this is probably one of the most important things you can do if you're a crypto investor, especially if you believe, like I do, that Bitcoin is going into the millions in the long term. Having something in a tax protected vehicle, it could change your life in the not too distant future. So takes a little time, but it's 3 minutes. Like, reach out. There's a form at the top. There's a phone number on their website. It's well worth the time investment to do it. So,
all right. Well, there you go, folks. Yeah, smash that like button. Let's get the likes pumping up, everybody, because we're going to talk about gold for a second here. Smash it. I demand you smash that like. Gold leads, Bitcoin follows harder. You just see that gold. I mean, it looked crazy here, and then it looked crazy here, and then and now it just keeps looking crazier and crazier there. Love seeing this. Gold officially posted highest monthly RSI in history, 91.8. It's only seen 4 red months since March of last year. Retrospect, it'll be so obvious what this all means there. Absolute insanity. And, just kind of reference here, USA removed all silver from our coins in 65, closed the gold window in 71, which removed backing of gold. After that, they unleashed debt up to almost 40 trillion. So if you wonder why housing's unaffordable, everything seems more expensive, it's because your currency is being devalued a little each year. Your 2% raise does not keep up with inflation. And just a kind of interesting chart there. Roman also did the same thing. Roman debasement of silver coins. And don't even get me going on clipping the coins there. But
Yeah.
now we're seeing a Bitcoin gold correlation increase. So gold video upload, probably, maybe not today, but probably tomorrow, folks. We're probably going to go ahead and get that one out tomorrow.
You don't want to talk about clipping coins because of who created it or who invented it? Is that why?
There's definitely some scapegoats that does have a lot of historical context that does come out to like, dang, there is a there, and you don't want it to be there, but it is there. And you're like, why did that happen in the year 1213? And it did. And
the other thing,
now you're really giving me sidetracked, TJ. We're gonna get deep.
Sorry,
real quick.
I set you up for that. Yeah. So all the likes just got canceled by that one question. But no, I will say this when it comes to currency debasement. I mean, Rome is the obvious example, but if you guys haven't read the Bitcoin Standard yet, I would recommend it because it's almost always the beginning of the end of powerhouse civilizations is when they start debasing the currency. Once they get away from a sound money or a hard money supply, that's when everything starts to fall apart. To DZ's point, they're debasing the currency. It was slowly. They haven't been doing it that slow recently. It's speeding up, and that's what's leading us to where we are today. That's why we need to choose Bitcoin. That's why we talk about it all the time. And to the guy in the chat calling us all idiots, you can do the opposite of what we say all you want. I'm saying buy Bitcoin. If you do the opposite of that, I guess you go all in on dollars, and I say good luck to you, sir.
All right, guys saying he's got inside info. Binance is doing something tonight. Be cautious at night. And he's not talking about riding a Charlotte bus. All right, let's move on. Reverse signal, everybody. Big reverse signal. Capo called the top again. Confirmations needed, but the cycle top could be in. Lots of momentum. Good news not having an impact, and a potential financial crisis incoming. Again, NFA, just his opinion, observation. He's the Jim Cramer of crypto. So this could be a very, very bullish catalyst, people. So keep an eye out on that one. And Gainsey kind of agreeing in a weird way. He thinks stuff goes up violently from here. People with funds disproportionately less excited than they should be. It's a sign of a bottom, and vastly overrating how few natives right now even have money to blast into things. Q4 is always turbo bullish, and now people are afraid of margin and going risk on. So kind of setting up a nice Q4, TJ.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, like I said, if you've got experience in this market, what we just saw last Friday actually does make you a lot more bullish, because you're like, okay, well, now the coast is clear for a quick move up. A lot of people are out of the market now. A lot of people are afraid. A lot of people, unfortunately, did sell the bottom, especially if they haven't been around for a while. And that sets you up for, max pain is now to the upside. A lot of people are sidelined right now. And so a huge pump, I mean, that's where if you guys hate institutions, they're the ones that are about to make money, because they're still max bidding. They're still accumulating. And I did want to mention this real quick. This was a good breakdown that Kelly did. Like I said, in the member stream this morning, was showing, this is the Wyckoff accumulation patterns. Typically you got phase A, phase B, phase C, phase D. And if you look at this has been Ethereum, which has been fairly well correlated, where now it's in the phase E is the just blast off up and to the right. And we've been pretty much doing that. We got this last week down. This is last Friday. And it is set. The stage is set for the true alt season and for things to really move up in a very vertical way here in Q4. So I'm still as bullish as ever. Obviously, I do trend onto the bullish side, so take it with a grain of salt. I am a perma bull, but it definitely pays way better to be a perma bull than a perma bear. And I will say that's kind of the joke about Capo, is he's calling for a top and calling for a crash basically all the time. And then it would be he did call the Friday one, but he's been calling it since May, and has missed the entire run up since then. So. If you call for a crash every day and all the time, kind of like Robert Kiyosaki does, and then when the crash happens, come out and be like, I told you,
Yeah.
But to his credit, though, Robert Kiyosaki has been very bullish Bitcoin, silver, and gold, and he's probably feeling pretty good.
There's people who've been buying gold and silver due to his calls for 25 years, and they're finally excited to go to Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
for the first time ever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, and I looked it up while you're talking. It was 1215, not 1213. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happened in England over about a 50-year period. So I was off by 2 years. I do like to be accurate with my history. I do love history. So 1215, not 1213. I was off a little bit on the events of 800 years ago. But let's talk about, forgive me, liquidity vacuum. If you want to know more, there have been a lot of more, post-mortems on this. You could just see it that, they reference a chart just looking at the liquidity. Liquidity was pulled from the markets to TJ's effect. It goes a little esoteric, goes into like trust and, scalability and reliability, and, talks about A order books and B order books and market making and the feedback loop of destruction. So it is a long deep dive. If you want to learn more, it's very easy to find this article on X, but basically they did the deep dive and you can see it in the chart. Liquidity vaporized from the market. So you could sell $1 worth of something and it would dump that.
Right. It just killed the order books. And like I said, well, let me ask the chat. What do you guys think? Do you think this, Friday's crash? Do you think you got three options? Trump, Binance, something else? What do you guys think? And, like you could argue that, Binance market make, Wintermute is another one that gets a lot of hate, I guess you could say, for their tactics. But what do you think was the true catalyst that caused the violent flash crash that we experienced Friday? Trump, Binance, something else, something adjacent to Binance, something unrelated to Binance? What do you guys think? I'm just let that roll in the chat. I mean, we can that shows it right there. Look at all that liquidity that was there, and then it wasn't, and it starts to come back in afterwards, but it was clearly sucked dry there for a little while. And again, that's what we were hearing from our exchange partners, that and market makers would be, what provide liquidity most of the time.
And don't forget, Richard Tang is the CEO of Binance, not
Correct.
CZ.
Not CZ. Yeah.
If I were to point the finger at a CZ, leader, I would point at Richard Tang, Little Dick Tang.
Yeah, Binance leader, not CZ leader. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know the Crow video. Look, if you caught that, you're part of Discover Crypto history. All right, now congratulations. MetaPlanet, not looking that great. Their MNAV, their market net asset value there had dipped below their market value of their stock. That does include their debt, taken away. So people not so bullish on that. So just a little bit of a canary in the coal mine. I'm not saying MicroStrategy's going down, but MetaPlanet going down would happen before MicroStrategy goes down. So MetaPlanet, they do have some forced selling. I don't think we're close to that yet. I want to say it's 0.8. It hit 0.99 very briefly there. So something to keep an eye on as far as the digital asset treasuries. Only place USDE DPEG happened, the largest one for sure, was on Binance. Yeah, we did see that. Now, probably going to do some research here. Larry Fink went bullish. This is Sunday night, TJ. A lot of people, I just saw random Larry Fink things on the timeline, and they're like quoting things from Larry Fink said in July and April and February and January. I found them all this morning. I'm like, what is this reference? And then I saw something. It really isn't widely reported. You're going to see a lot on it, but he was on 60 Minutes. This is him saying, yeah, the Bears were crying real tears on Friday. I think that's what he's saying. I got to watch this, but Andrew Ross Sorkin, I would say it's a fairly credible guy. I mean, he does do things with the World Economic Forum or Davos that people might not like, but on CNBC, him and Joe Kernan, I believe his name, are very knowledgeable when it does come to crypto. They are pushing these bankers like, well, why don't you have Bitcoin on their balance sheet? Whenever you see those news clips, it's either him or Joe. So keep an eye out on the BlackRock video. We'll talk about that one in a little bit. So what the hell did Larry Fink really say about Bitcoin? I'll do a little bit more research on that one because I want to go back and see what he used to say too. So we'll do a deep dive on Larry Fink. And okay, saying, yeah, 60 Minutes is a joke. I don't know if you have any thoughts on CBS. They just got a new editor-in-chief, Barry Weiss. A lot of interesting accusations regarding her.
Yeah, I mean, you can, network TV is network TV. ABC.
She studied at the Shalom Center, which is pretty interesting.
60 Minutes, I will just say, it still has somewhat of an audience. It definitely doesn't have the audience they used to have. I do think that they support the establishment, I guess you could say, is one way to say it. So it is what it is, But hey, if they're talking good about Bitcoin, you're giving Larry Fink a stage. Like, I'm all for it. But I don't really I realize, like, I don't watch network TV, and I think network TV is kind of like the radio. I actually was driving one of the moving trucks the other day. I listened to the radio for the first time that I could remember, and I was like, nobody listens to the radio anymore, unless probably you're very old or you don't have any money for streaming services. Like, that's the only two audiences I could think of.
I listen to talk radio on occasion, and let me just say, all those things that Doge was eliminating, like, we do this in that country, they'll be like championing it, and you're like, I'm not going to get into political things here, but yeah, it'd be like, yeah, we're teaching this group to read, and this is the person that's doing the reading in this library, and we're doing it in Jamaica or Malta or random country, New Zealand, and you're like, well, that's where my taxpayers' dollars are going to. But and they'd be like, "This is so good, it's so good. We need more."
Speaking of Doge and taxpayer dollars and all this stuff, I haven't looked into it more, but I saw yesterday. Chat, let me know if you guys saw this. Apparently, federal workers and IRS employees owe up to $1.5 billion in back taxes. Like, they just haven't been paying their taxes, knowing that, like, if I work at the IRS, I guess I'm not going to audit myself. I'll go audit this other guy that owes $20,000. But apparently they owe according to Doge, I saw it yesterday. IRS employees and federal workers owe $1.5 billion in back taxes. Crazy.
Well, Neil Gaiman with The Watchmen, his famous quote, "Who watches The Watchmen?" said the spray painted graffiti on the wall. All right, let's I hate ADA, bro, but Camilo disagrees. People are sleeping on ADA. Well, let me just give you some facts. I'll try to stay away from the opinion here. IOHK, Charles Hoskinson, CEO of IOHK, co-founder of Ethereum, founder of Cardano, just joined the Digital Chamber. TJ, I did a little bit of a dive on Digital Chamber a couple weeks ago in an upload. Yeah. It's very interesting, let's just say, consortium of individuals here. You go to their page here, you can see it, go to digitalchamber.org. You start digging through the website. I think you go to About Us, you go to Team, click on Team. Now you got to go below the team, not representative of crypto. I think that's fair to say. When I go to a crypto event, it don't look like that. But you go to the advisory board, you start seeing some interesting people here. We have someone from Anchorage. We have a former chairman of the CFTC. We have Caitlin Long. We have Mick Mulvaney. He's a former chief of staff for Donald Trump. This is going to be like 2018, 2019. Mixed reviews on this guy, but I don't think you can get to that position without having some capability.
Yeah.
We have Sergey. We have Hemi. That's right. I know I covered Hemi. I still think Hemi's going to pump, a little bit based off this, although he does look a little too slick, a little bit like a used car salesman. And little Dick Richard Tang here, CEO of Binance. This guy's here. And they got some co-chairs as well. More people from Chainlink. We have people from Near. Deloitte is going to be a very, very powerful accounting firm. Constellation, Dapper Labs, more Chainlink. He just joined this. Basically, I'm bringing this up. I say, we saw the rumors of Chainlink coming to Cardano. This, to me, increases the probability.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is this basically a lobbying group, more or less?
Yeah.
Like an advocacy group?
Yeah, but not so much for like, state law, New York, your laws. They're like working in the background on like NIST requirements, regulatory framework requirements, specifically for like a global consortium.
Yeah, no, so that's big for, and I think Charles does very well in that. He understands governance very well. Obviously, Cardano's constructed for the long term with governance in mind, and a lot of different factors. I think he will fill a very good role on there. And like you said, it's a great team of people there. Obviously, you want to have a diverse mixture of interests represented on the advisory board. So I like to see Sergey on there. I do think Charles will be a good voice for DeFi and decentralization and, being able to establish a trustless state, so to speak, and not as much. My mic is cracking. All right, well, I'll check that.
Yeah, it's a little scratchy. Nothing super crazy. Now, this is an interesting story. I'm just kind of run through it real quick. Frozen $200K Binance donation for cancer patients Malta, now worth $37 million. They donated $200K way back 2018. I think it says here. It is now worth $37 million, but still unclaimed through a verification dispute. Basically, kind of like a KYC. They wanted to make sure they kind of checked the charities. hey, you're not just grifting us or something? And so part of that, they're like, well, we kind of need proof that you're doing stuff medically. And they're like, oh, well, medical transcripts, we can't share it. They're like, well, I mean, you got to prove something. And so now it's like $37 million on the hook here. A lot of people talk about that, kind of funny. Let's talk about Ben Cowan. He made this post, ETH coming home. And, you know, we TJ talking about his thesis here. You know, he's saying ETH is going to 5,300. Ben's thesis, alt season does not start until ETH come home and maintains like a $5,000 price point. So if it can maintain 5K, alt season is on, and then that's when your alts run. He just did a big upload basically saying, you know, we didn't quite wick to where I wanted with the total crypto market cap minus Tether, but we did wick to where I wanted with total market cap minus Tether and USDC. So he's kind of like, I don't know, guys. Maybe it's going to start bouncing from here, but he gave himself that wiggle room.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that makes a ton of sense. I do agree. Like we were just saying, I do think Ethereum can go up. And traditionally speaking, alt season starts when Ethereum's making, you know, all-time highs, and it hasn't made a significant and maintained a significant all-time high this cycle yet. So yeah, $5,000 Ethereum to me will signal the start of, you know, the true start of alt season. Not saying, you know, we haven't seen some runners here and there. We've definitely have. There's definitely been opportunities within alts, but largely speaking, many people are down on altcoins compared to Bitcoin. When we see Ethereum make an all-time high, that's generally like if you just take that old, you know, that tier list, you know, Bitcoin moves up, then money rolls into Ethereum, then the mid caps, or I mean, then the large caps, then the mid caps, then the micro caps, et cetera, et cetera. I do think we're right there now where we need Ethereum to break $5,000. Very bullish to see him say that because he's been bearish on Ethereum, and, you know, rightfully so up until this point. So $5,300 Ethereum sounds great to me. I saw that same post. I said, you know, send it now that the leverage is flushed out for the most part. Not saying people didn't pile back into leverage, because we all know, like we said at the top of the show, nobody in crypto is risk averse, and we're all degens at heart. So you guys freaking love to use leverage. So if you do, use our link in the description.
No, do the breakout prop and teach yourself some, you know, some good.
That too.
Yeah, that's what you need to do, folks. If you did get wrecked, you need to do that so you can make sure you don't get wrecked ever again. Now, so you're saying they say the same predictions about alt season all the time. Not Ben Cowan. Not Ben Cowan. He's basically saying no alt season till X happens. And now he's kind of saying like X has happened with an asterisk. Like if you add circle, and, you know, he kind of touched on circles, market cap is growing. So maybe we should add it, but maybe not. Again, you know, giving himself some wiggle room there. But Ben Cowan, I've long said, he knows his Bitcoin, he knows his ETH, and, you know, like if you're going to disagree with him, bring the commiserate amount of data that he has. If not, you're bringing a toothpick to a sword fight. Yeah,
he's very data driven. You know, that's his background as a data scientist, statistician. So, you know, again, a lot of some that can. He's obviously looking at past data to make future predictions, and that works largely most of the time. Now, whether the 4-year cycle ends or not, he's still heavily in 4-year cycle is intact, and I will say it is until it isn't. And I still believe that we can't say it's over until something different happens. And so far, it's been intact, which means, you know, we should be seeing bullish October, bullish November for altcoins, and you know, we'll adjust. I did see the question earlier, what we're going to do with our altcoins. You know, we'll be talking about that a lot in November, so prepare yourself. We will be talking about our strategy for end of this year going into 2026. It's just a little early to start talking about that now.
And start liking stablecoins more and more. All right, let's go a little anti-communist screed against Vitalik. Bhutan shifts its national identity to Ethereum blockchain. Okay, so Bhutan is making significant strides in its innovation for their NDI system. But here's bad news from Polygon to Ethereum. So we're seeing Polygon, you know, similar to what we saw with Starbucks a couple years ago, you know, losing, maybe was marketed as a major partnership in the past. Now they've been utilizing this blockchain since August 24 for its NDI system, National Identity or National Digital Identity System, which supports about 800,000 citizens. They are managing their digital identities. So Vitalik, he wants a national identity. He wants a global identity. He wants everybody to have these digital identities tied to the blockchain. Just a friendly reminder, Vitalik is a communist. Do not take my opinion for it. Take his own words for it. Degen communism, the only correct political identity. But I would just say, listen to Alex Becker. Gentlemen, When the bull is done, we can worry about the fact that Vitalik is a 6x vax communist who runs ETH like it's a hippie orgy collective. It is your duty to lie and tell everyone he's a brilliant leader with a magnum dong until we dump our 10K Ethereum.
Gotta love Alex Becker.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. But yeah, you know, he's just saying, make communism great again. That's all, TJ. That's all.
Gosh. All right. Smash the like buttons. You know,
that was the sickly son. All right. So you remember the Russian in Rocky IV? He had a twin who like lost a lot of the nutrients in the womb. That's him. That's Ivan Drago's weak, sickly twin half brother.
That's the one that barely survived. Well,
yeah, he was
just like Ethereum.
He was in the NICU unit.
No. Smash the like so that we don't delete our channel after this for saying communism so many times. So we love all you guys.
Mom Donnie, good.
Yeah, we'll see you at the.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.